Thank you so much, Jay. A very good morning to all of you. Thanks for joining us in such a cold weather. I am Nagesh Banga. I lead the business for Netcore Cloud, which is a AI-based customer engagement platform. We also power all the communication channels from email to SMS to WhatsApp for all our clients. Today we are here to discuss on the various game of channels, the new rules of engagement, where we will try to decipher the code, how drastically these channels have been changing, what's new in the market, how new innovations are coming into this. To start with, I'll welcome Mr. Ajay Chaurasia, Mr. Varun Mohan, Mr. Vivek Dwivedi, and Mr. Monish Vohra, my panelist for this particular uh, panel discussion. To set up the stage, can each one of you share what communication channels you guys are using today? How do you measure the effectiveness, and which are the channels which has been most effective for you? You can choose your whosoever wants to answer it first.
I think we don't even need this. It's okay, it's okay. I think I'm audible enough. Hi, mic check. Hi, yeah, this is better. First of all, good morning to everybody. I think it's really cold weather outside. Thank you everyone for coming. My name is Vivek and I work for FNP, Ferns and Petals. It's into the gifting space for those who don't know. And I take care of their customer experience and operations. Now, to answer your question, I think, communication channels in today's world, they're very important. And before we move to the channel, it's important to understand what communication will fit an organization, what's the brand theme or the brand strategy, what kind of brand positioning you're putting in into all your communication. Once we have the understanding about the clear communication we want to do, then is the time when the channels will come into the picture. For example, if your target audience is less than 30 years of age, then you might not want to go on Facebook and use that as a channel to communicate because the return will be zero. And we'll feel like that we have not been able to strategize. So first, once we understand what brand positioning we are doing and what's the style, what's the theme we are into, once we decide that, we move to channels. And if I talk about channels, I think we don't have a one shoe fits all size, some gimmick that, yeah, I should be only here, or I can do advertisement there only and it's gonna work. We'll have to start with all of the channels, and the source of truth will be the ultimate decider, which will tell us that, hey, this channel works for me. So for example, for FNP, while we are into all the channels, email, messages, social, Instagram, but what really works for us is the calling. Because we are into the gifting space, consumer today is always confused what to gift. So we have a gifting expert where this expert will call and understand to whom you want to gift and what you want to gift. And let's say if it's a friend of 18 years, there'll be a different gifting range. If 30 years, different gifting range. For a 55-year-old, will be a different gifting range. So diversity plays a role. So I think to summarize this, the game of channels is very important. And to begin with, we have to be present everywhere. And once we have the information, the source of truth, that is the ultimate decider in telling us that, hey, this is my effective game of channel, and this is the mode I want to go more on.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Varun, it's the business at MIQ. We are a global data-driven programmatic platform, just to give you a good intro on here. I can't agree more with Vivek because that's exactly what for a few minutes back, me and Ajay and Monish, we were talking about in terms of how there was a conversation whether should we do only DV or other platforms perspective. And again, as adding to what Vivek mentioned, first thing or the foremost thing is you need to understand what is who are your potential audience for a brand, right? And based on that, what is the outcome or KPI you are intent to deliver through this campaign or through the activation? So unlike others, apart from me and Nagesh are the other side of the table. So for me, it is not about my brand. It's about how I execute for the platforms or the partners who work with us. So that perspective, uh, we we understand how, or for the brand perspective, how they should look at their audience, and based on that, you do a bottom-down approach. I mean, you can't. We still hear, there are clients who come back to us saying that, I want to run a campaign on Hotstar, so, or I want to run a campaign only on XYZ DSP or anything. So until unless, I mean, we go back asking them, what is the objective? I mean, you want to run a campaign on Hotstar, but what are you trying to deliver out of it, or what kind of outcome are you expected out of it? Because if you intend to reach your TG, the approach is not like I want to look at this OTT or this DSP. The approach is, this is my audience. Where the audience is present, I need to be active there. So it can be a connected TV, it can be DOH, it can be YouTube, it can be any platform. So engaging the user at the right time, firstly to the right audience, the right time, and on the right platform. I think that's what matters.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ajay. I represent a company called RupeeRedee. We are a digital lending platform. Engagement for us is actually a very important part because we provide loans and digital loans, and we make money on every second engagement happening. First time onboarding when we do, we hardly make any money. So for us, it's very important that the customers come back. For Ferns and Petals, I use you guys a lot, especially on my anniversaries and the birthdays and in my college days, what I have done. So, but yeah, I got caught because of them once. So these guys just keep you sending messages a day before. Hey, tomorrow is the anniversary. No, that's my ex, but somebody else got the message. So personalization was there, but that was hyper personalization. So for us also same happens into lending. When we are re-engaging the customers for the loan, first loan is about to end. We have so many channels. So as on today, I think text messages hardly anybody is opening. And thanks to this OTP rate that automatically the apps read the OTP, you don't even go to SMS anymore. But if you go to the tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities, they're still using SMS. So I could not say that SMS is gone. It's still there, but WhatsApp has more or less replaced. And the RCS that recently came in, that was a game changer for everyone, especially for fintech community. When we started running campaigns on RCS, even if it was engagement or a direct onboarding, the conversion rate was as good as Google Ads, because people were using their phones. It was the engagement was good because there is an image now. It's not just an SMS. It's an image which is connecting with you that okay, the loan that you are taking, are you taking this loan for for a personal loan, for a gifting, for a consumer durables? That's how it works. So for us, engagement is very important, especially because a customer that we onboarded in the day one on the first month will go down by the end of the year. So if we got 100, probably at the end of the year, the LTV value would be 3. 97 would go away because not everybody has a habit of taking loan. They will try to, get out of that debt. But how you are doing the engagement, that is also important. You cannot send a SMS to 6 months to a customer who has taken a loan 6 months ago, and now probably either he has moved out from somewhere else, or he would be out of that particular product line altogether. He might go from me to some other competition. So I think engagement, it all depends upon when you are reaching and what channel you have chosen to reach the customer. That's the only thing that will bring you conversions. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. Monish, Vohra. I'm from SBI Card, and I handle the customer services and operations. And the thoughts resonate. Very little to add to it, except let me paraphrase. Communication is about engagement. So, and engagement, you have to understand who are you engaging with. I think that is what you talk about. What is your target segment? Why are you engaging with the consumer? And what are you engaging with them for? Are you engaging with them for a first-time product sale? Then the channel is completely different, right? Because here you're going to introduce your product. You're going to explain your product. Just by pushing in a notification saying that buy my product, he's not going to buy it. Especially when it is a complicated and engaged product like a financial services or a credit card, where it's a matter of money. It's not a toothpicks that you're going to change if you don't like it, right? So it's something that you're going to deeply invest in it. That means that the engagement level is going to be far higher. So you need a channel that will help you engage with it. And that is why I think despite all our frustrations, telecalling continues to be the most predominant channel because, like it or not, that is the most effective channel at the end of the day because you're engaging continuously with the customer and you are able to explain the queries online to the customer. But if you are upselling, then it's a completely different story. Do you really need to, if the customer is already yours and you're upselling and cross-selling, you can be a bit more lenient in terms of what you're trying to do with that customer. Where is the customer? Is the customer a tier 1, tier 2, like this, set A, B, C? So it's all dependent upon what kind of communication is the customer more in tune with. We've all seen that, like we discussed earlier. But the other part is when you're communicating, is it again only product, services, or is it there is a call to action behind it? Ultimately, I'll give you an example from my own context. We have a see, you buy a credit card for only one single purpose, right? You don't buy it for the plastic that it is. You buy it to make a transaction. I'm an enabler. I'm not really a product. You buy it to use it on FNP. You buy it to use it on any other platform. You buy it to swipe it on Haldiram. But the fact is that the product is not a credit card. The product is the service that you're buying. And the moment of truth is when this thing actually goes berserk. Your transaction does not happen. Or you come back and you say that the transaction is not something that you've done. Now, one is just communicating to you and telling you, sorry, your transaction did not go through. But is that enough? Because that's not what the engagement is about. The engagement is, A, you're frustrated because your transaction hasn't happened. So me informing you that transaction hasn't happened is of no real use to you, right? It's just a mandatory information. You already know because the transaction hasn't gone through. What is important is for you to know why hasn't the transaction gone through? And can you recover it? So for me, it is important that I use a channel which in real time will be able to communicate to you and tell you why has it gone. And from experience, we know 80% of the transactions fall through just because, people like me have fat fingers. You put in the wrong OTP, you put in the wrong CVV, you put in the wrong details. And you can immediately recover it. Now, if you were not to recover it, I'll lose business because like it or not, a customer has probably 3 cards in his wallet. And if you're not able to use an SBI card, you'll probably use my competition card. So it's in my interest to make sure that I'm able to reach out to you and give you a call to action, which is something that you can do at that instance itself. So what I'm communicating to you and why I'm communicating to you and is there a recovery which is possible is extremely important. That's why I think, and we were discussing that earlier with Nagesh as well. I am extremely bullish about, like everybody else, about WhatsApp as a channel. I think it's going to be the predominant channel, like it or not, despite all the complications that Meta may want to put into it. But the fact is it is going to be the ubiquitous channel. And for especially somebody like a financial services or an engagement product, where you can use it from a perspective of all the 3 things that I spoke about, the initial engagement to the final call to action. It's the most effective channel that can be probably monetized by everybody.
Thank you so much. I guess these were great points, like from calling to WhatsApp to RCS being the predominant channel. Just a follow-up question. So while you are sending these messages, when you decide that what should be the preferred channel for a consumer or what should be the preferred time, let's say if I open an email in the morning or I do open email in night, and mostly the customers scroll through top 10 or top 15 emails. Am I there in top 15 emails as a brand? Is there any science or technology or tool you guys are using today to get into this logic that which preferred channel I should use or which preferred time I should be able to send my campaigns? I'm talking more from the promotional side of it.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting question. And see, I feel that the communication will more or less be product led. So like somebody into the food business would not send a message at 11 p.m. For them, it's very important that they are catering to lunch, breakfast, and dinner time. Now, how do you stay relevant? And so for us, FNP as a gifting platform, generally the business hours are busy. 10 to 6, you don't expect a consumer to open his inbox at 2 p.m. and gift. It's generally 6 to 10 for us because the product says so, and then similarly in the morning. So we send a communication in the morning, the mind is fresh, and then, if you want to gift, we send reminders about the birthdays, anniversaries. So for us, the use case lies in sending the message in the morning or in the late evening. And that's how we try to stay relevant. And for communication, we use Clever Tap. So, yeah.
I'll skip that part.
So we also use CleverTap. We have used CleverTap in the past and to do this. So there are two uh, kind of customers that we are trying to engage. One is when a customer is onboarding and if he's dropping, then there is a real-time engagement happening. A customer is dropping at a particular stage, a real-time engagement is there because we call ourselves completely digital in nature because we don't have a calling team. We don't call anybody to take a loan. We just because the demand is so high that if we just focus on the re-engagement then and there, people come and convert. So out of 100% people coming in, we deliver 10% people for sure. 90% out of 90, we reject 75. So it's only 10-15 people who drop off and then they come back again. So for us, re-engagement is something which is right away happening for these kind of customers when they are doing the journey. If they drop out, right away they get an SMS or the journey whichever they are stuck, and then they continue. Now, when I come back to the secondary customers, what are the times to reach out my dormant customers or the database that we have who has not taken a loan this time? In reality, people are applying for loans in our cases is mostly in the evening time. Once they are finished up with their work, that's the time when they are probably thinking of buying a phone because you are using Instagram or probably talking to your friends after you finish your working hours. And in that moment of time, we probably send an email, we'll send you an SMS, we'll send you a WhatsApp to see if in case you want something, and then it will happen. So there are certain areas, certain customer base to whom we send it 3 times a day. A certain customer we send once in a week. A certain customer we would say probably once in a month. But there's a different cohort for every customer to look at, and that's how we have to plan their engagement because I don't want to bombard his WhatsApp also because today WhatsApp has become your primary way of communication, and you would not like to receive 10 different notifications from 10 different brands. Probably they will just report you or block you because if they want it. So we don't want to spam it as well, but at the same time we have to make sure that the engagement is effective. So that's how we plan it to do.
So I think absolutely right. Contextual communication, like we discussed earlier, is the key to have an effective communication. And I'll give you a simple example from our context as well. See, while as a product we make money on every transaction that you make, where we make real money is if you were to convert this transaction into a loan. And so the next, I don't know how many of you have SBI card. The next time you do a high value transaction, within a split second you will probably get an SMS saying they convert this into an EMI. Because if you do that, it's a benefit to you because then you're not revolving your credit because you get a lower rate of interest. I benefit because you're probably giving me more than just the transaction value. So the context of the communication has to be pulled in very, very clearly at the right time because after the transaction happened and you've been billed for it, the chances of you coming back and then taking a loan on it is going to be quite thin. And we've seen that since we started this communication, it's actually taken up by conversions by about 10x. Because the fact is that you were hitting the customer with the right information at the time that he really wants it. So you're giving an offer that he or she is most likely to actually avail that offer.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So why I asked this question was because we at Netcore, we bring that science on your table to help you to understand your customer requirement, what are the preferred channels and what are the preferred times when you should be reaching your customers, which brings more or gives you more ROI and brings more significance on the table, right? So this is more from the engagement side. When we talk about on the acquisition side today in the market, when everyone is running behind the customer and the whole industry, be it any industry, it's very cluttered. We do not want to leave any stone unturned to reach out our customer. At times, do you think over bombing the communication to any customer just increase the dissatisfaction level of a customer? The whole customer experience goes for a toss at one end. On the other end, it also increases the cost of your communication to the customer. And how you are trying to maintain a balance between the two.
So I'll start with that in terms of the key thing here is optimal frequency, right? Understand, firstly, there are for every brand or every objective, there is a difference in frequency. Now, when you talk about FNP versus when you talk about SBI card, now there are two different objectives. I mean, both are interconnected because SBI, you use an SBI card to transact on FNP, but however, SBI's perspective, they reach out to a wider segment and for wider, wider engagement, etc. At the same time, FNP have a short perspective in terms of your gifting something which is next day or in a week's time and etc. I don't see anyone booking something, a gifting beyond a week or max is within a week, right? So when you engage with that audience, that now, for example, if someone have anniversaries happening next month, next week, next Friday, hypothetically. So from today, if you're engaging with that user, how much frequency you need to engage. So if you're engaging with a user more than 10 times in next 5 days, it finds spooky. I mean, we don't want that to be bothered kind of thing. Right. So identifying the right balance for any brand, for depending on what the product is, whom you're reaching out to, it's very important. Now, when you talk about a brand like a luxury lifestyle brand, right? You're reaching to CXOs or ultra HNI audience. You need to be even more content in terms of your communication. It can be a little more crisp, engaging at the same shot. If you engage a person at that level with a frequency of 10, then definitely he or she gonna block you, right? So one, as I mentioned earlier, reaching the right time and engagement. At the same time, it's very important to reach, we were just talking about that in terms of multiple OTTs when you run a campaign, how do you match or optimize the campaign across frequency? That's very critical in terms of user engagement perspective. Second, as a brand, I mean, any of the brand for that matter, it's always a wastage because the more you, the more you deliver in terms of the, be it video, be it SMS, or be it display or any of these, there's a cost to it. So the time you deliver more, there is a cost liability to the brand kind of thing. So both perspective, I think brand need to identify the optimal frequency and engage the user based on that.
For us, so 3 years ago when I joined RupeeRedee and we started doing it, see today most of the companies, specifically in BFSI sector, we target acquisition. Our target is the transaction has to be done. For that, we have found out a easier way of marketing, which is affiliate marketing today. And we all know, you go to AdTech, you see so many affiliates there, right? But what is happening there is that these affiliates are not just running a campaign for you, but also for 10 different brands. That's where we are bombarding the customers. It's a matter of choice that I can get I get a customer, but the affiliates are picking it up. Now, because of that, when the customer has already acquired by me and when I'm re-engaging, at the same time, 10 more guys are re-engaging. And that is not making any difference until and unless there is a product value for us. So that is definitely there. What I've realized in the last 3 years is you got to start building your brand story with the coming time. Your channels of engagement should change. It should not be just on SMS, WhatsApp or email. Digitally, you should also be present. We followed the strategy in the last 2 years, and from last 2 years, we started building the brand. We started doing influencer videos. We started doing YouTube videos. We even did a documentary with Hotstar for our own business. And the result of that today is that even if I stop my performance marketing or acquisition, 80% of traffic of new customers are coming without any cost. My organic has built in such a way, the word of mouth has gone such a way. Now, if I am sending a SMS to my repeat audiences, my repeat is also increased. Back in the days, if my repeat was happening, so while in our business, 75% of the volume is always repeat, the number of customers increased. When we saw this happening, the trend we realized is, let's not just bombard the customers with email and SMS and everything. Let's start building branding, because when the customer has taken your services, he knows your name. Now, if he sees you on multiple channels, that is also a kind of engagement that might not be a direct engagement with the customer, but that engagement is also happening. So whenever he would go for the next time to go and apply for a loan for us, he would definitely choose me first, because I have given him that, somewhere in the unconscious mind, the name is there. That strategy has worked very well for us. And in the longer term, until unless we need a high push, let's say tomorrow I want to do 1 million customers in next month, then I can go back to performance, I can spend money. But as on today, the entire business is becoming break even. I'm spending less and less on marketing. I don't have to send 100 SMS to the same customer in a month, even if I send one whenever he needs it, because loan is a product which is a pull product. You cannot push it. You can only push it like I really like the SBI cards communication. As soon as they will keep on sending that, why don't you convert other cards payment and convert it into loan? Nobody offers this in the entire country except SBI cards, and people are doing that. They use all the other cards, then they go back to SBI, they swap it, and then they're converting. Correct me if I'm wrong. That is happening, and that's a fantastic way of doing it. It's okay. Don't do transaction from us. Convert all your transaction into loan from us, and that's a very smart way of doing it. So I think these are the levels of engagement that you do, and that's where I feel like bombarding is not a good idea. And with coming time, new brands coming in, there is a lot of SMS, there's a lot of communication happening. So us, we would not, we definitely try to make sure that we are not filling up the customer's phone with our SMSs.
So I guess in the sight, in the mind strategy is working for you more, where you want
It is.
to.
It worked for me for 3 years. It is very good happening because everybody in my industry has a very high acquisition cost. My acquisition cost for new customer is only $2, just 120 rupees, not more than that. Because we spent some money in the past when we were doing branding. We went all in the branding. We did TV interviews. We did everything possible. And then when we did this Hotstar video with the documentary, that really worked well for us because in that we placed ourselves with Mastercard. So there was 6 episodes. That also worked well for us because now customers can differentiate between me, especially with so many lending products in the market. My audience knows that okay, this company is decent enough, and today I have more than 2 million customers that I have done served. So out of 2 million, if even 10% is coming back every month and doing a transaction, it's a very good number for us. It's a very good number.
So
And
we can say that the mantra would be it's not only omni-channel but omnipresent is also there.
omnipresent is very important. Your branding activity has to be done. It is very difficult to convince your management to do branding because they feel like that okay, this might not be because it doesn't have a direct relationship. You spent $1 million, you don't see any loan against that. What you see is with time happening in organic. So it is very difficult to convince your management, your CEO that I'm using this money for this. But you will realize it after 6 months or 9 months of your entire branding activity. If it has been done in a sync, you will start realizing it that after some point of time, you might not need any. Like how Zerodha is not spending anything. The entire thing was branding. So you have to plan it accordingly. And then when you use these channels, people will not be bothered about your ads or anything coming because they will feel like you're trying to help them.
Let me just add one more thing here, Nagesh. I think in terms of one is frequency, the other is consistency. What is more important is the fact that how consistent are your communications across time and across channels. So you cannot be having different communications. And again, from our context, so what we've done is we've put in a cap saying that we will not communicate with the customer more than 5 times in a week. Why 5 times? I don't know. We put in an algorithm and it was seemed to be the most optimal number. But we said that as a brand, we will not communicate with the consumer more than 5 times. But most importantly, it is what is it that we are communicating. So we put in a hierarchy of communication. Obviously, we are a financial services business. For us, payment reminders are the first. Right? And payment defaults, unfortunately, are 0 level. So if a customer, now you cannot be communicating to a customer saying that pay up your bill on time and follow it up 2 hours later with a communication saying now, we have a product offer for you. So I think those linkages are far more important than the fact that what you're doing in terms of the number of times you're doing it. So a payment reminder may keep on coming to you every 2 hours or every second day. But then that cannot be followed up with certain other cross-sell or upsell opportunities because the first priority that I need for you is to actually get your account regular. So we keep that in mind before we put in any communication strategies in place.
It's not only how and when, it's about what also.
Exactly.
Perfect. To both my friends from BFSI, right? To cut down a balance between a personalized communication and what you call the ensuring the data privacy. How you guys are driving it?
I think we were discussing this earlier in terms of now with the impending DPDP rules. You don't have a choice, right? And it's good that you don't have a choice because there are a lot of unscrupulous ways that people are undermining the data today. But what is important is, see, we have a huge amount of data. So we are very, very conscious in terms of how are we acquiring, how are we storing, using, and how are we actually transmitting data. Because as a fiduciary, it's not the data that is only with us. The fact is that we employ a lot of third-party organizations also, including Netcore. So we work with so many people, and this is the data that is being transmitted. And that is where the data is most vulnerable. And this is PII data, this is transactional data, it is everything about you. And we need to be extra careful. So we put in guardrails in terms of masking data which is available at the contact center, in terms of encrypting data when it is getting transmitted. But most importantly, it is a need to know. What is the data that I need? Because unfortunately, what has happened is in this entire over enthusiasm of capturing data, we find out that when you do your data flow diagrams, you figure out that there is so much data that you have that even you don't know what this data is for. And if you don't know what that data is for, how are you going to secure the data? So the first part is for us was to look at what is the most crucial data that you need to capture and store. What is not, so some of it is mandated. You cannot store an Aadhaar card. So some of it is mandated. You cannot put that in. You have to perforce purge that. But what is the other data that you have which could put you at risk? So that is one thing that we are very, very careful about. The second is in terms of analytics. Fortunately, there are algorithms that you can use anonymized data for. The fact is that you do not need to know Monish Vohra's age. You need to know my cohort's age. You need to know what is it that I have done. And I think that is a technology which is available today for you to be able to use my data without actually using my data. So that is something that we are building on to make sure that we as an organization are not at risk, the consumer is not at risk, and our third party, our vendors, our partners are also not at risk in terms of whatever data that we have.
Ajay, you have something to add to it?
Yeah, so counter question on your question is, when you say hyper personalization of data, you're talking about the data that we use for our business or from a marketing perspective?
From a marketing purpose, when you're at the receiving end, you collect the data, right? And based on that, you are sending the personalized communication. At times, there's a very thin line
Yeah.
between getting into like being personalized, sending a personalized communication and getting into a PII data, right?
Got it.
So how do you deal with it?
So as a BFSI companies, we have lot of data points. I mean, from anything to everything, which location you are, what device you are using, what are installed applications that you have on the app, which competition you're using, that is there. We from our end, from personalization, because it's a very simple loan product, we don't really have to do a lot of personalization. But if you would have, I think everybody would have noticed this, that when you are trying to repay your EMIs on time, people are calling you to take another loan. Now that is something that where the data leakages are happening. It's not leakages, I would say. These are triggers from CICs. You can take as a survey as a BFSI that if Ajay is paying EMI on time, I can get a trigger and I can offer him another loan. So that is one way of getting personalized. That okay, I know that you are paying on time. How about you take another loan? I can give you a higher ticket size loan. Your car EMI is about to complete. Take another loan. From our end, what we do is we just connect to the customer to the level of for example, we know which state is he from, so we would know which festival is going to come. I can run a campaign for that festival. I can run a campaign basis on the geography, that okay, this is the geography that we are going to target. Holi is coming, people are going for shopping, let's plan a communication accordingly. So we are doing that kind of it, but we are not sharing a lot of information because NBFCs are being governed by RBI very strictly these days. The data has to be, it cannot go. This is why when we are onboarding a partner, then also we are making sure we are not sharing any PI data to any of the competition or any of the partners. This is why we don't even promote or resell our rejected leads, because that is also not allowed to do. Yeah.
I'll just add one point to that. So when a brand reach out to their existing audience, which are hyper customization or personalization, it is fine because every consumer want to be personalized. I mean, you like somebody knowing you, like for example, when you open Netflix, when you're saying that, okay, you're recommended given a content based on the content genre, what you've been consumed, you like it. You don't want to go through the entire, the entire list of content there, right? But however, a brand reaching out to you where you are not the customer and talking about probably Mr. X, you went there yesterday and would you like to do something, then you like find spooky. You know, how do they know about me, or how do they get that? So that's a thin line what you mentioned about personalization and crossing or breaching the privacy perspective. So yeah, it's something which brand have to look at how they engage, because one, existing, as I mentioned, existing customers perspective, it's always good to personalize. But when you're reaching out to wider, as Ajay mentioned, you talk about external factors. Now when we when we activate a campaign, I will give an example like Dabur. Now Dabur, for Chyawanprash, they always want to talk to or reach audience where there is an immunity issue, right? So we activate a campaign for them to the place where it is expected to rain, or it's raining right now. So we do a weather sync, and we do the custom communication to the user in that area, saying that it's expected to rain in a day's time. Okay, build your immunity by Dabur Chyawanprash. That is a customization, and at the same time, it is not to an crossing PI, or it's not to an individual perspective. It's a broader perspective. So that when we do any kind of such customization, we see a very high engagement rate, because it's something related to that particular area or particular segment. In fact, FNP again, a lot of customization.
Yeah, I think everybody has said. I think we can move to the next question. Everybody has summarized very well.
So I guess since we have very less time left, just one question. So we have spoken about what are the trends going now, how the data has been used, so on and so forth. One thing, so at Netcore, we talk about the innovations within the channels. We talk about something called inbox commerce, to give a website kind of experience within the emails through AMP emails and getting your cart on WhatsApp. What more trends do you think are gonna come in terms of channels? What are the bullish channel for you in the coming future? And yeah.
So I'll quickly start with the technology perspective. At our end, I would say today a lot of platforms, like for example, in the engagement level, you have connected TV, you have digital smart OH, you have audio app, the display videos across. There's quite a lot of wall-guarded environment today. Like Meta is a wall-guarded environment. Google itself moving more into a wall-guarded environment today. So what need and what will change is how to have user segmentation across platforms. That's something which gonna change in the tech side of it. So there are more tools, more applications, more marketing tech, enabler to identify the user journey at a 360-degree level. And as Ajay and Monish mentioned, in terms of engaging the user across multi-funnel, which is very important. So that's something which brings more efficiency, more accuracy, and more engagement by activating. So tech around identifying data getting more enabled. Again, as we talk about data privacy rules which is coming in, how to look at user level persona data without entering their PIA, and having a 360-degree engagement by either ADH or be it CDP or any of these platforms which will help us to do so.
I'll just take 1 second to add, I may sound like a dinosaur, but the fact is that with things like UPI Lite and what NPCI is coming out with, when we talk about WhatsApp RCS as well, like I said, it may be a archaic thought, but given the context that we are in, where we are the bankers to the nation and we are at the tier 3 and tier 4, I think for us and maybe even players like RupeeRedee, USSD has not died out. You may find, like I said, you may think that it is dying down, but I think there are so many use cases that are going to, so NPCI 2.0 is riding on USSD and different avatars of USSD. We may think that it is going to go, but given that there is a big reach that we have out there, that is going to be the biggest hook to get the tier 3s and tier 4s onboarded before we actually get them up the ladder on any other communication channel.
See, I think in terms of the channel being bullish, I think we can't deny the fact that WhatsApp is very aggressive and it's an instant opening messenger. Everybody's on WhatsApp. So while the future, I fear that how WhatsApp or how Meta will work to ensure that it doesn't go into just like a general message which we have, nobody even opens it. I think Meta has to just see how they do not convert themselves into a normal message. That's one. Otherwise, if I talk about the bullish trend, I think WhatsApp is the future. It's very engaging, and how we use AI and generative AI into WhatsApp to create the right content for the user will be the key here. So if, for example, if I have to talk about FNP, let's say if my customer has ordered for his friend a mango cake from 5 years. Now, using WhatsApp as a channel, because email still you'll open it in 3-4 hours. If I'm able to show him the right options and new product launches of mango cake, reminding him about the birthday happening in 2 days, I think that can be a bullish way to go about it. So merging WhatsApp with generative AI, I think that's a good way to go about it.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I guess.
I'll just add one last
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So bullish. I think millennials' times is going away. Gen Z's time is coming here. Gen Z's have a very short span of concentration. They cannot concentrate on anything more than 6 to 9 seconds as on today. WhatsApp being there, you would see why Zomato's notification gets trended on X. Swiggy and they are always competing, and Gen Z's pick it up like this, and then that's how the brand value coming in. I feel like companies like CleverTap, MoEngage, they have done a very good job with the notification part, and hats off to the creative team of Zomato and all the upcoming companies. That's where I think the engagement is going to happen, because Gen Zs will stop using WhatsApp with coming time. As he said, it's just becoming another message. People are moving to a lot of other channels also. Telegram is also picking up in India, by the way, all for the wrong reasons, but it is picking up. Telegram is also picking up, right? So I think with the coming time, you will see more and more engagement happening on the application itself with the timing, and that's what my feeling is, because I know the generational shift is happening now, and you can see the generational shift if you just go out somewhere and try to sit with these guys. A lot of things will just go out of context. You might not be able to even manage it, because they might not be a transacting user today, but they are going to be a transacting users in 5 years. And whatever we are building it for them. Us, we are good with the banks. We are good with the ICICI Bank. These guys might not like ICICI Bank in the coming time. This is why banks have also in undue pressure to innovate as much as possible, because they don't want to wait even for a minute for anything. I ordered my phone yesterday from Blinkit, got it in 20 minutes. I mean, that's the speciality of the new technology
I
coming
guess
in.
the idea is to convert the legacy brands into
You
Gen Z
have
brands.
you have to, sir. Amazon has lost a lot of business to Blinkit and Instamart,
That's a great
because
insight.
these guys, because I bought an iPhone yesterday. I mean, that's a high ticket volume for Amazon. It was never planned to be on Blinkit, but it is there. So 60,000 crores of business is now moving from Amazon to these guys. That's why Flipkart launched Flipkart in minutes. So Gen Z is the next thing. Plan everything. Probably have somebody from a Gen Z in your team to understand what is happening in the market.
To sum it up, it's like not understanding your brand, but understanding the consumer,
Yes.
is more. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for being a wonderful panel. And thank you so much, audience. Thank you so much.